Are we working? Yes. Hi, Hoot. How is everybody today? If we can get Tyler to quiet down a little. Somebody throw something at him. Hey, Tyler, what's your call sign right now? What? Pretend like you're on 20 meters. What's your call sign right now? Kilo 7 X-ray Tango Sierra stroke AG, acting general. Our newest general in the house. He tested just a few minutes ago and passed. And missed what? Don't tell him this, but he only missed 2 questions. He tried. He got about a 60% on his extra without studying. That's not bad. I think everybody knows, but I just remember there were a couple of people that were talking to me about testing for extra soon. If you're currently studying the extra pool, it changes July 1st. So we want to test before July 1st if you've been studying the current test pool. After July 1st, we got a whole new test pool for extra. So if you're thinking about extra, I highly suggest study really hard or start on the next test pool, and the books are already available. First thing I've got to talk about, what was our event for last month? Was it a Hamfest? Yeah, I think that's what it was. How many people made it to our Hamfest? Did we have a good time? Okay. We put on, I think it was 6 total classes or 7. We had a fox hunt. Everybody that was there seemed to have a good time, so thank you. Just so you know, for next year, I've already started talking to a couple of other clubs to see if we can do some combined stuff and make it even bigger and better than it has been the last couple of years. Anybody that wants to work on that, let me know. Okay. A current event that we're doing. How many of you know what the Lewis and Clark Trail on the Air event is? How many don't know anything about it? Okay. So the Lewis and Clark Trail on the Air event is created by a club in Oregon. I'm sorry, I don't remember which club. They are activating states that were along Clark County Amateur Radio Club, Washington. Okay. So what they're doing, for those of you who've ever done like the Route 66 special event or 13 colonies, you contact, in this one you make a contact with a club station in each of the states that was part of the Lewis and Clark Trail. You can go to their website and download a certificate for doing that. We were asked to be one of the 2 clubs activating Idaho. I did a rough count a little while ago with a big chunk of us being gone at CPAC for the half of the first week. We've already got, like I said, rough count, about 450 QSOs in the log from just a few of us working on it. Anybody that's interested in helping out, let me know. If you're going to do a lot, I can actually create you an account on this site. You can spot yourself there. We've also got a spreadsheet, which I will pull up right here. One of the reasons behind the spreadsheet here is if you've only got like 15, 20 minutes that you want to operate, if at that time band mode, there's nobody there, put your call sign in the spreadsheet, jump on and operate. So we can be real flexible if we're using this spreadsheet. So if that's what you do, keep track of your log, get it to me. We're also submitting them to QRZ, and if Logbook of the World ever comes back this year, we'll upload them as club logs there. For those of you who just want to chase stations, here is the sample certificate that you get for activating all the states, and you can see them all. And I'll bet you, oh, they didn't update that. Shucks. I'll have to talk to them. If you look at the clubs, the number 2 club on the list is us. And like I said, they reached out to us. So anybody that wants to do that, let me know. We're going on until the 16th of this month. So 13:59 on the 16th UTC time, the event's over. What is our next big event that's coming up? Yep. Yep, yep.
I've got next week off. I'm planning on going out to a photo park somewhere. If anybody wants to join me or have an idea where they want to go, I'm going to be operating as the club call sign for that event and doing photo and just basically just hanging out somewhere. So anybody has some time off.
So Lane, talk to him. He wants people to help him. He's taking time off from work.
A week off from work, so I'm just going to play. I don't know. That's what I said.
Someplace within an hour or two at a photo park.
He'd probably be willing to go anywhere that you wanted to go. He just wants to go out and play. He doesn't care where. He just is hoping that. Exactly. He's looking for a playmate. That's what it is. He's looking for a playmate. Actually, I think the real reason is he wants somebody to help him put an antenna in the air. But that's the. What? Yes, it'll be a play date, not a SCAD. But everybody is welcome to operate. Those of you who are not generals, one of those logs that I was looking at was mine on 6 meters. I put in like 57 contacts on 6 meters. Local people would probably would love to be able to get a contact on 2 meters because that's one of the frequencies for the event. So even if somebody wants to go set somewhere on 2 meters or go drive to the top of a hill and activate it as a park and call out as 2 meters, not a problem.
I'm an extra, and I'll be using the club call sign. Even if you're a technician, you can come with me and operate on the general bands and play. I'll have FT8 set up. You can do voice. You can do all kinds of stuff.
I want to see you doing CW though. I want to see you doing CW.
Ooh.
That's why we get Lane to go with you. Okay, so we've got this going till the 16th. It'll keep people busy. What's coming up the following weekend? Summer Field Day. Who liked where we were at Tripod Meadows last year that made it? The road sucked. The good thing is, I don't know if we've got a date set yet. You can say no, that's okay. He's not here. We need to. So we have a permit from the Forest Service to fix the road. One of the members is planning on bringing up a tractor. Go ahead, Brian.
So I contacted the Forest Service, did all the stuff needed, and I have an actual permit that we can go up and take and smooth out that road. Larry Biederman's supposed to have a tractor with a front loader and a box scraper on the back of it. I'm going to be up there. I'm not going to be up there for field day. My nephew decided to get married during field day, so yeah, and I can't get him to change. But I'm going to be up there. I'm going to go up the 15th and 16th, and I'll be leaving Monday, the 17th, for McCall because we have a family camping trip in McCall. And I was going to, originally the plan was after I'm done there is to come to Tripod Meadows and camp with field day and it'd just be a whole lot of blast of a week of camping. Now it's kind of changed a little bit. But I'm going to be up there at Tripod the 15th. We're going up early Saturday morning, and I'll be up there Sunday, and we're leaving Monday. So I'm hoping that Larry can get his tractor to come up there. And while I'm up there, if somebody else, let in so it's all flat. But most importantly, those roads into it with the, for lack of a better term, motorcycle whoops, right? And then there's some drainage ruts that's just happened from the runoff just over the many years. Get rid of those. None of them are natural or built in there, so they're all just, well, they're all natural. None of them were put there on purpose. So we don't have to preserve any of that.
So
Anyways,
yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
thank you. If we get that fixed, it shouldn't be too hard to make it easy for any sort of an SUV to make it in there without any problems. A car that has decent ground clearance shouldn't be any problem.
I actually drove my Prius back into the spots 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay. So it can be done in any vehicle, just you got to be a little more safer. The bad part is 150 yards.
Might be 25 to 30 yards total of fixing.
Yeah, it's and from the main road, a little over a quarter of a mile to where we camp. Okay, that's my guess was about a quarter of a mile or a little more than that.
Before you first get into it, where you have some puddles, and I want to get that so the water doesn't stay there, so you're not driving a shallow puddle where if it's full of water, you're like, how deep is that thing? I don't want to drive through it. So you're trying to drive around it, get into the stream a little bit.
But we're just off the main road enough back kind of in some trees to give us a little bit of privacy because at that time of year it's popular.
It's more than a little bit. It's a lot of bit of privacy.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area, but there's probably where we're at close to a full football field of fairly level ground for people to camp and stuff. Yeah. So plenty of room for everybody. Saturday night will be a good dinner. The club will provide the entrees. The rest of it will be potluck. If you can come up for just a day, great. If you can spend the night, great. So for those of you who don't know where Tripod Meadows is, I didn't have time to make a flyer for today. I will get it to you. I will get one emailed out to everybody with a pin drop. We take Highway 55 towards McCall. And if you know where the Rainbow Bridge is, which is that little narrow old bridge that people hate to drive over, the little community just before you get there, Smith's Ferry, we turn and go up the hill. And from the highway, what? It's Cougar Mountain Lodge. And from where you leave the asphalt, I don't think it's 3 or 4 miles.
Maybe.
It's not very far as soon as you get up to the top of the hill.
The Forest Service Road is not bad at all.
Yeah. It's a fairly main off-road, off-highway road that you can drive about anything on. I know we will probably be there Thursday evening. And it doesn't start until Saturday morning. So at least us, and I know normally there's quite a few people who start showing up either Thursday or Friday for camping out.
It's also a photo park.
Yes, we're in the Boise National Forest, so it's a Parks on the Air activation as well as field day. And for those of you who don't know, even when operating under the club call sign for field day, as long as we have your operator down under it, you get credit as an activator in the POTA system. So if it's a really good weekend, there could be people who earn a kilo just in the weekend. That would have to be a really good weekend, but if you were there Thursday night and operated all weekend, it wouldn't be that hard to do. I don't remember. He finished his kilo. That's all I know. We had fun helping him finish his kilo. What else do we have? So we're into June. It's getting hot. Most of us get tired of going outside in July when it's really hot. The 4th of July is Thursday, so there will be no meeting in July. And our activity for July is going to be a barbecue at Scott Burgess's house, W7IMC, on the 13th of July. For anybody who hasn't been there, there's a pool, there's a hot tub, and always great company. It's a lot of fun. Okay, do I have any other important things that I've got to talk about? Field day. Anybody who wants to come and help out We have some kind of staff positions we'd like to fill in. You know, if somebody wants to be the cat herder to make sure we keep people on the right bands at the right time so that we're not having problems with that. As like an incident commander would be great. Somebody in charge of antennas putting up. If you want to come up and help with anything like that, we've got jobs you can do to help take care of stuff. And yes, this weekend, thank you, is the ARL VHF contest. I know there's at least one group that is trying to break the region record for a multi-operator. It starts Saturday at noon. VHF, which means 6 meters and up, so everybody who has a technician level license or above can participate. Please participate. Contesters can't make points if people don't give them contacts. You don't have to be a member of anything to either compete in the contest or help out. And the exchange, so one thing that gets everybody is what does the contester need to know? He needs to know what grid square you're in. If you live in the valley here, you're in DN 13. If you're over the hill in Emmett, you might be in DN 14. If you were down Mountain Home, DN 22. But for all of us, it's DN 13. And that's what they'll need to know is your grid square, and you can contact them on every individual band. So 6 meters, 2 meters, if you've got 220, 440, 900, 1.2, 2 gig, 5 gig, 10 gig. How many of you have operated on 10 gigahertz before? How many of you done mobile on 10 gigahertz before? You want to know the strangest thing about doing mobile 10 gigahertz driving down the freeway? I didn't think about it at the time, but signal quality got really bad every time a semi-truck passed me. You think multipath on 2 meters is bad when you're driving down the freeway? Try 10 gigahertz when you're surrounded by semis. It was interesting. You know, we're probably some of the first people who've done 10 gigahertz mobile. And we logged, what did we figure out? Almost 900 contacts on microwave bands over the weekend, 850 or something like that, just on 2 gig, 5 gig, and 10 gig. All right, so I've wasted enough time. Our presentation tonight is by Mr. Mike Garski here, K7SKE, who, if you can tell from his T-shirt, he went to Dayton Hamvention.
Thank you, Kim. I bought a couple things. I did buy a couple things. Nothing that could not fit in my carry-on on my airplane. So, anyway, I went to Dayton. So, I'm going to show you a few slides, a couple ins and outs and stuff like that of the place. So, first time ever been to Ohio, anything like that. So, it was pretty cool to see that. Let's see here. A little about me. I got my technician class license in April of '94, so I've been licensed for 30 years now, just before I got out of the Army. Funny story, it's my favorite story to tell. My best friend Rex, we've known each other since we were 9, 10 years old. We're now in our 50s. And so we grew up together. Funny thing is that was before the internet, so I went and took my test over in Maple Valley, Washington State. And a couple days later, I get a letter from him saying that he did the same thing within a couple days of me. We didn't coordinate it at all. I hadn't talked to him in a couple months. This was all before internet and email, and found out he took the test 2 days before me, so kind of funny. And he went with, we both decided to go to Dayton for our 30-year celebration. So that's why we did this. So he's far and away better than I am. He's tens of thousands of contacts over than I have. So, but anyway, I started out as KC7 DPD way back then. Didn't change my call sign until December of 2011 when I got my extra. So then it's K7SKE. My last name is Garski. So I'm always saying, everybody's always asking to spell it. So I'm always saying SKE, SKE, so that rhymes. So does well. Day one. It was wet and rainy. So you can see here, I don't know if I'm blocking anything. You can see that that's the line of cars going into Dayton. And it was several miles of cars. And we were driving in, we were just coming into town, going to where we were going to park our car. That's my friend Rex. So that kept going and going and going. It was pretty crazy just to see it. They even had an AM radio station on, calling everybody in, giving everybody directions on how to get in there. And so it was definitely a big deal for Xenia. A few more pictures. So we went to the high school to park, and they had a whole bunch of buses all set up to go into the Hamfest. And it wasn't too bad, actually. It wasn't. We got sitting there. Of course, it was a little rainy, drizzly, but everybody was in a good mood. Everybody talking to each other and stuff. And so everybody loaded up on the buses. This was the only time the buses were really full going into the place. Coming out was, you could get a bus anytime you wanted to get back out to your car or whatever like that. So rode the bus. It only took about 20 minutes. It was actually pretty close to the Hamfest area, but it was a lot better than parking there. And as you can see, there's tons of people there. This is standing in line to go into the place. So just coming in, of course it's wet and rainy and stuff like that, so we decided we were going to do all the indoor stuff first that day. So we broke it up over day one and day two to just see all the indoor presentations and all that stuff. And as you can see, it's quite a bit of people. And this is about 10 o'clock in the morning. It didn't take us, it opened at 9. There was already a line when we got there, but it really moved really fast. It wasn't too bad. Did everybody see that? What? Okay. I was trying to make as many pictures as I could to get on here. And then straight up walking in, got Celebrity Ham here. So anybody know who this guy is? Gordon West. Yep. The funny thing is, that's who I was trying to find. It was one of my to-do lists when I got there to talk to him. And it was 10 minutes walking into the door, and he's standing there by himself with nobody around him. I'm like, wow, that was quick. I can do this. But he actually had to talk. He was leaving just there, so I had to wait a couple hours to come back and see him. Anyway, the big ICOM presentation there. And as you can see, they were showing a radio that they're coming out with. And of course, Rob was looking for pictures for this. So I shot him a bunch of pictures and shot him from there. And we kind of figured out it's a brand new radio that's coming out pretty soon. So that's pretty cool. But it's hard to get a scale of everything that's here. A lot of people. Here's more of the pictures of the radio. A lot of it. It's pretty neat to see that. They were trying to get you to guess what it was. Obviously, it's something new that they're coming out with. And part two. And as you can see, there's 3 large buildings with all these people, so I can't tell you which building this is in or which one it is, but they had every major manufacturer was there. ICOM, Yaesu, A lot of people, but it wasn't too bad. You could get around pretty well. They had it well spaced out. Everybody that you can think of that you buy stuff from was there. Comet, you got just a lot of major manufacturers. They all had antennas set up. It was really neat. Special event station going on. So, a lot of people there. Here's the Yaesu. So they're showing off all their fun stuff. A lot of cool gear. They were giving away hats too, so got my free hat. That's John Crook, if you know him. He's one of the main guys that does a lot of interface with customers and stuff like that. You can talk to him. He's a pretty nice guy. And then meeting Gordon West. So I was first in line, of course, me being the nerd I am. So I got my book signed by him, which was a copy of the original test book that I had. So I got him and talked to him for a few minutes. Really nice guy, really cool. So it was pretty neat to see him in person. And lunchtime. And as you can see, it's kind of set up like a fair. It's all fair food if you want to think about it that way. Wasn't too pricey, but you know, it's the experience. So we had fun. Not a lot of sitting areas, so that was one of the bad things about it, but eventually you could find a place to sit. And one of the presentations they did, we went to the one on soda, and this was a pretty informative one. There's a couple things that they showed us that on mapping different areas like soda sites, and so they had showed a pretty cool online gadget that you can play with, and then the other guys were talking about how many different organizations are around the country and how big this is starting to get. It was pretty neat. And you can see all these presentations online if you look online on the ARRL site. So that was the end of the day. We took off after that. Day two, we decided to do the ham fest and the flea market and ham swap there. So there's at least 5 acres of things to look at. So first day, I walked over 5 miles just the first day, and that was just in the buildings itself. So I had about 12,000 steps on me. So second day was walking through the ham fest and the flea market. It was really cool to see a lot of boat anchors, a lot of newer stuff. Could get some good deals if you were in the market for all that. A lot of cool things to see. Yes, sir. What did I buy? I couldn't fit it all in my bag when I got here, so I bought a few things, little things like books and stuff. So, so yeah, it was drier today or this day. It was pretty humid still. It is a very humid place. If you don't like that, so. Let's see here. More pictures. I really wanted to buy that, but that weighs about 50 pounds. That would have been one bag in itself. A lot of cool things. You got this guy was the porcupine. You've probably seen pictures online of this guy. Has about 50 different antennas on top of his Prius there.
Well, I thought you were transporting Kim's car there.
It looks almost like Kim's car. Kim? I think he had about a dozen, maybe. You could probably beat him. Yeah, you got a goal there. So it was pretty cool. And then just walking through, yeah, it took us all day. So we started there 10 o'clock and walked the entire place for all day. Shoot. Yeah. So it was pretty neat. A little better weather. It was warm, dry at least. So that's an old S20. That was my very first. I had an old neighbor that gave me one of those when I was 9 or 10 years old, and I actually set it up and played with it and got shocked a few times from it. You know how that is. So, but that was my first cool radio. I happened to see one there, so that was neat. And of course, lunch again. Lunch was pretty good. They had a lot of good options, anything you wanted. So. Kind of a do's and don'ts for Hamvention. Do bring rain gear. Everybody said that. It's like it's gonna rain one day out of the 3 days. We didn't go to the Sunday day. We had other plans to do, but we figured that was enough for 2 days of solid Hamvention. Have comfortable shoes. Again, another 10,000 steps on the second day. That was quite a bit. And definitely break it up over the 2 days. You can't see everything in one day. So it's definitely a lot to take in, a lot of things to see if you want to stop and talk to people or see things that you really want to see. Make sure you know which talks you want to go see, where they're at. There's a lot of buildings all over this whole area. And then take a couple extra days to explore Ohio. That's what we did. We got there on a Thursday night, and then we were left on that Tuesday afterwards. Again, don't park at the Hamfest itself. It's muddy, wet, rainy, all that stuff if you drive there. And then don't rush the experience. It's a lot of fun. It was very overwhelming just walking into the place and just seeing everything. So it's definitely a good once in a lifetime or once to experience. I've got more pictures here, so I'm going to show you some of the off things that we did. So a side trip that we took was, this is the Colonel Charles Young Historic Landmark, and this house belonged to the first African-American colonel in the United States Army. He was one of the first Buffalo soldiers after the Civil War. This was his house, and it's a national monument. My buddy Rex, he collects all the stamps from all the different parks and stuff like that, so he had to hit this one. This was just outside of Xenia. I wish, we should have, huh? So the town of Xenia is where the Hamfest is actually at, and where we stayed as well. So 50 years ago, they had a huge EF5 tornado blow through this place, and there's some interesting YouTube videos about it, just total devastation of this entire town. And there was a monument for all the people that lost their lives. There's 34 people that lost their lives. And a really cool church there in front there. There's a really cool brewery in honor of the tornadoes that show up there every so often. So, and of course, this place has been hit a couple times actually since this tornado is. Don't know why it likes to single this town out, but it does get singled out pretty well. In Dayton, Ohio, went to the Wright Brothers Museum. This is pretty cool. This was one of their original cycle shops, and you got to go walk around in there. This was downtown Dayton, which was pretty neat to see. Really clean town, very green. Everything looks pretty cool. It was a nice little experience to see all the stuff and all the history of the Wright brothers and where they grew up and all that stuff. It's really neat. And this was our last day. So the U.S. Air Force Museum, that's also in Dayton. It's on the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. This was really cool. I mean, it's hard to get a scale of this. This was only one full day thing as well. We started here, again, 9 o'clock in the morning, didn't finish until 5 o'clock that afternoon. And it was a lot. So it starts from the very beginning of airplanes, aircraft, and stuff like that, all the way through World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. That's boxcar there. That's the one that's dropped the bomb on Nagasaki. And then Memphis Belle, which was not the first plane to hit 25 missions. It was actually the third plane to do it. It was just the most famous one. pretty cool airplanes. There's like 4 different huge buildings full of these things, so it was hard to see everything. You had to walk through and look at everything pretty quickly to see everything that day. Yeah, all the way up to a B-2 Spirit sitting there, F-117, and then a mock-up of one of the first Mercury capsules. That had just gotten put in there a couple days before we got there. This was standing up on a really cool overlook, and you can see everything. Kind of hard to see the entire the building, but it was hard to take everything all in. And that's it. Any questions? Questions, comments, concerns, complaints? Pretty cool. And it's one of the oldest ones that's ever been going continuous. So it's been from, I think, the 50s when they started way back then, and it's just been always going there, and it just happened to get bigger and bigger over the years. So, and it's kind of a central place in the United States to get to. So, anything else? That was Boxcar. That was the second B-29 that dropped the atomic bomb. Enola Gay is the first one, yeah. So, yep. Pretty cool. Anybody else?
Thanks for sharing, Mike.
Yeah. Thank you.
I want to know where all of our souvenirs are from being.
I left them. They got lost on the way home.
So, as you know, many of us were at CPAC last weekend. I don't know, it's been a blur. Just a week after that. CPAC is big, but nothing like that. The swap meet area at CPAC is 2 times this area, 2 to 3 times this total. And they only had, I think it was 6 total classrooms for lectures, but it was pretty neat. But that's all we have for tonight. Who's coming to field day? We need more of you to raise your hands and say yes. It'll be fun. Good.
Just for clarification on field day, dinner is going to be hot dogs and burgers. The club will be providing those. Everything else will be potlucks. So you know what we're having to plan around.
And it'll be a good time. And like everything we do, it's family friendly. We try to be serious on the radio, but many times it's more interesting to just visit with everybody. But thank you. Thank you, Mike. You guys have a great night, and stay cool now that we're getting into the hot summer.